Old age will be painful if you ignore these 6 truths, things you probably didn't know. Old age has long been described as a peaceful phase, a quiet interlude after years of hustling to make a living. Many people expect that once they retire, their children are grown, and life stabilizes, they will enjoy leisurely days free from the burdens of daily worries. However, reality is not always so idyllic. Old age can become a time of suffering and disillusionment if we are not adequately prepared, not only financially or physically but, more importantly, psychologically and emotionally. What makes old age challenging is not merely physical aches or the long list of medications taken daily. More profoundly, it is the slow but certain realization that life is no longer what it used to be. Subtle yet persistent changes in mindset, daily habits, and social relationships often leave older adults feeling lost, disappointed, and directionless. What's striking is that very few of us are ever sat down and told about these truths. We navigate life with countless pre-prepared milestones: education, career, marriage, parenthood, but rarely are we prepared to grow old. This is why this video was created, as a gentle yet profound wake-up call. It does not aim to instill fear but to offer a realistic and compassionate perspective on aging. Through authentic, relatable stories and insightful psychological analysis, the video highlights that ignoring 6 critical truths can lead to an old age filled with regret, resentment, and silent suffering. No one can escape the law of time, but we can choose how we embrace and navigate old age, with proactivity, clear awareness, and early preparation. The lessons in the video serve as a guide not only for those already in their twilight years but also for those in middle age. Aging does not begin when hair turns gray or skin wrinkles. It starts the moment we stop caring, stop connecting, and stop living intentionally. One of the first and harshest truths that many only realize in their later years is this: relationships naturally shrink over time. This does not happen because of a specific event or with a warning bell. It unfolds quietly, like leaves falling from an aging tree. One day, you notice the phone no longer rings as often, the mailbox sits empty, and the regular gatherings of the past are now mere memories. Youth and middle age are times of connection. We are surrounded by friends, colleagues, neighbors, and family, people who share our work, joys, and sorrows. But upon retirement, the whirlwind of work stops, children grow up, and friends drift apart. The busyness that once masked loneliness fades, leaving a vast emptiness in the hearts of older adults. Relationships no longer sustain themselves effortlessly. Someone once close may have moved to another city, a longtime friend may have passed away, or others' lives have simply taken a different path. Sadly, most older adults are unprepared for this. They assume cherished relationships will naturally endure, that children, grandchildren, or friends will always call, text, or visit. But reality is different. Modern life sweeps people along at a relentless pace, making it harder than ever to stay in touch. No one intentionally abandons the elderly, but generational gaps, busy schedules, and changing habits gradually reduce interactions until they are limited to rare holiday occasions. Many older adults experience loneliness not just from a lack of physical presence but from a lack of genuine connection. They may live in a bustling neighborhood or share a home with family, yet still feel invisible. Presence alone cannot fill the void left by the absence of meaningful conversations, understanding glances, or the feeling of being heard and respected. Even more concerning, prolonged loneliness can severely impact physical and mental health. Studies show that chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, depression, memory loss, and even shortens lifespan. Disrupted sleep, weakened immunity, and reduced focus can all stem from the absence of someone to share life with. Yet, we are not entirely powerless against this reality. As the video points out, relationships, like health, wither if not nurtured. Older adults must learn to be proactive in maintaining connections. Calling an old friend, inviting a neighbor for tea, joining community clubs, or simply greeting and chatting with those around them. The story of George, a 76-year-old man in the video, illustrates the positive change that comes with proactive reconnection. After losing his wife and retiring, George fell into silence, sometimes going entire days without speaking to anyone. Only when he joined a neighborhood walking group and began calling old colleagues did his life regain joy and meaning. Loneliness lingered, but it was no longer an endless abyss. It was filled with simple yet heartfelt conversations. Old age, therefore, should not be a time of passivity or waiting for others to reach out. Instead, older adults must become the ones to reconnect with the world. Whether through a phone call, a coffee invitation, or a smile to a stranger on the street. The shrinking of relationships is inevitable, but loneliness is not. It can be eased if we have the courage to acknowledge it and the initiative to act. Old age does not have to be a solitary journey. It can be a time to forge new, meaningful, and inspiring connections if we truly desire it. When we think of old age, most of us imagine physical pain. Creaky joints, slow steps, and an ever-growing list of prescriptions. Indeed, physical pain is nearly unavoidable in the aging process. However, what makes old age harsh is not pain alone. Far more crushing is the lack of acknowledgement, understanding, and ability to manage that pain, both physical and emotional. In reality, there is a truth few recognize. Pain and suffering are not the same. Pain is a physiological sensation caused by injury, illness, or aging. Suffering, however, is the story we tell ourselves about that pain. When an older person wakes up with aching legs, a stiff back, or trembling hands, they don't just feel pain. They often feel disappointment, anger, or even shame about themselves. It is these negative emotions that drag them into deeper, more persistent suffering than any physical discomfort. Many older adults try to cope quietly. They hide their pain, avoid mentioning it, and refuse help or medical support, believing that enduring is a sign of strength. But denying the body's changes only amplifies suffering. Those who refuse to accept that they are different from 10 or 20 years ago often force themselves into old patterns. Working as they once did, rejecting aids like canes or braces, or avoiding doctors out of fear of seeming weak. These actions do not make them stronger. They only turn pain into a relentless burden on both body and spirit. Linda's story in the video is a vivid example. A passionate gardener, she began experiencing wrist pain from arthritis in old age. At first, she toughed it out, refusing wrist braces or habit changes, unwilling to admit she was old and frail. But eventually, the pain became unbearable, and she abandoned her lifelong joy, her vibrant little garden. Only after a neighbor suggested specialized tools, raised garden beds, and new techniques did she slowly return to her passion. The pain remained, but it no longer controlled her life. She had learned to live with it rather than fight it. This is the key to managing pain in old age. Acceptance without surrender. When we stop comparing our present selves to the past, when we cease viewing bodily changes as failure, we can treat ourselves with compassion instead of anger. Then we become open to solutions. Gentle exercise, warm baths, meditation, physical therapy, or simply adopting a slower, more mindful approach to life to reduce pain's impact. We must also address shame and fear of judgment, which often prevent older adults from seeking help. They worry that using a cane looks pathetic, a wheelchair feels useless, or complaining is bothering others. But assistance, whether from doctors, family, or neighbors, does not diminish a person's worth. On the contrary, bravely acknowledging needs and accepting support is a sign of strength and maturity. Older adults who confront pain wisely accept reality, listen to their bodies, and choose kind actions toward themselves. They understand that aging does not mean the end of good things. It is an invitation to live more slowly, deeply, and lovingly. Old age may bring new limitations, but it also offers opportunities to discover new ways of living. If we dare to let go of denial and embrace understanding, adaptation, and proactive self-care, this, more than any medication, is the most effective remedy for navigating pain with grace and fulfillment. One of the most common expectations as people enter old age is the belief that family, especially children and grandchildren, will always be there, offering unconditional care and support. This expectation seems reasonable, as many parents dedicate their lives to their children, sacrificing time, energy, emotions, and even personal dreams. They believe that in old age, when they need love and help, their children will naturally repay them by being present, listening, caring, and sharing. However, this expectation, if not tempered with realism, can become a painful illusion. The video emphasizes a sobering truth. No one, not even your own children, owes you their time or presence. This perspective may feel jarring or even offensive to some older adults. But upon reflection, it becomes clear that this does not negate the importance of family ties. It simply reminds us that everyone has their own life, filled with responsibilities and pressures. As children grow, start families, and pursue careers, their time becomes fragmented, making it challenging to be as present for aging parents as expected. It's easy to fall into a cycle of hurt when expectations go unmet. For instance, a mother might hope her daughter visits for dinner every weekend, but the daughter is busy with work or exhausted after a long week. When one visit is missed, then another, the mother might think, she doesn't care anymore, or after all I've done, she's so indifferent. Over time, these negative thoughts breed silent resentment, straining the relationship further. Helen's story in the video illustrates this vividly. After dedicating her life to raising 3 children, she dreamed of an old age filled with family laughter, shared meals, and afternoons with grandchildren. But as her children grew and moved to different cities, consumed by their own lives, calls became rare and visits infrequent. Initially, Helen felt abandoned, but instead of dwelling in that pain, she pivoted, building a new life by joining community activities and connecting with neighbors. This gave her a renewed sense of being needed without relying solely on her children. The key to overcoming the pain of unmet family expectations lies in proactively adjusting mindset and lifestyle. Rather than tying happiness to others' presence or actions, older adults should cultivate a diverse emotional ecosystem. Friends to talk with, groups to share interests, and personal hobbies to enjoy. If family visits, it's a bonus. If not, life remains meaningful. Loving children and grandchildren does not mean demanding repayment. True love is unconditional. Given without expecting reciprocation, it lightens the heart. Children aren't at fault for not expressing love as hoped. They're simply navigating their own lives, often showing care in subtle ways that may not always be obvious. Instead of wishing they'd change to meet expectations, ask, what can I change to feel lighter? Many older adults who grasp this find peace. They stop blaming their children for lack of time, stop waiting for daily calls, and instead focus on self-care, learning new things, befriending peers, and living fully with gratitude. Ultimately, what matters is not how often family visits, but whether you're living a meaningful, independent, and fulfilling life. When you stop placing your joy in others' hands, you feel lighter and freer. Family remains vital, but it's not the sole determinant of a rewarding old age. Letting go of this illusion reveals that old age can still be rich and joyful, in its own unique way. One of the most subtle yet profoundly impactful changes in older adults is the loss of a sense of purpose each morning. It's not a sudden sadness but a creeping emptiness that grows with each day, as people begin to ask, why am I waking up? What's the point of today? Would anyone notice if I weren't here? Unanswered, these questions turn mornings into a mental challenge rather than the start of a vibrant day. In youth and middle age, life follows a clear rhythm, driven by specific goals: work, raising children, family duties, or societal contributions. These goals subtly provide psychological scaffolding, giving reasons to rise early, act, and feel valued. But in retirement, with children grown and careers ended, those roles vanish. Older adults face something scarier than illness: the feeling of being unneeded. Many enter old age excited for rest and leisure, but after a few months of freedom, time feels aimless, days blur together. They wake without a reason to get out of bed, eat haphazardly, pass hours with TV or social media, and nap, not from tiredness but from lack of purpose. Over time, this erodes motivation, and depression in older adults often stems from this loss of direction. Purpose doesn't need to be grand. It's not about changing the world. Often, it's small things that make you feel you're moving forward. Tending a plant, helping a grandchild with homework, cooking a nice meal, or tidying your space for a fresh feel. These trivial acts anchor the sense of truly living, not just existing. Bill's story in the video exemplifies this shift. After 40 years as a bus driver, he retired eager for alarm-free mornings. But within 3 months, he grew lethargic, reluctant to leave home. When his daughter suggested he volunteer as a crossing guard at his granddaughter's school, a simple but meaningful role, he found a reason to rise early, dress neatly, and greet children each morning. He felt needed and valued, reigniting his zest for life. Purpose not only stabilizes mental health but boosts physical well-being. Older adults with daily goals are more active, fall ill less, and recover faster. They eat better, move more, and, crucially, feel their life still matters. To achieve this, older adults must redefine purpose in their new reality. No longer the breadwinner or family rock, they can embrace new roles: inspirer, storyteller, or creative spirit. Setting small daily goals, trying a new recipe, journaling, joining a book club, or learning to use a smartphone keeps life vibrant. Purpose isn't bestowed or borrowed, it's self-created. At 60, 70, or 80, we still need a reason to exist, to contribute, to grow. Old age isn't the end. It's a new chapter requiring a fresh script. That script begins with a simple question: tomorrow morning, what will I do to feel truly alive? Throughout life, especially in adulthood and work years, we're taught to be strong, self-reliant, and not a burden. These traits help us overcome challenges, build careers, raise families, and maintain dignity. But in old age, these same strengths can become barriers, causing silent suffering, especially when it comes to asking for help. Aging brings physical and mental shifts. Older adults may lose agility or take longer for once easy tasks like carrying groceries, climbing stairs, or using technology. Instead of acknowledging these limits and seeking support, many stay silent, enduring quietly, because asking for help feels like weakness, worthlessness, or burdening others. Pride runs deep, especially for those who were family pillars or leaders. When young, they gave, others leaned on them. Admitting they now need help can spark shame, loss, or a sense of losing their role. Fear of pity drives many to reject support and connection, leaving them isolated and hurt without others knowing. Raymond's story in the video is telling. At 80, he insisted on maintaining his home, especially his front garden. Despite neighbors' offers to help, he brushed them off with a forced smile. "I'm fine." His refusal stemmed not from capability but from pride tinged with age-related insecurity. A fall while mowing landed him in the hospital. There, he realized needing others didn't diminish him. It enabled safer, more connected living. Accepting help brought relief, understanding, and stronger bonds. A common mistake is equating help with dependence. But there's a clear line between the two. You can remain independent in spirit and decision-making while accepting small aids from family, friends, or community. Using a cane doesn't mean weakness. It means wisdom. Letting family book a doctor's appointment doesn't mean uselessness. It means smart self-care. Most people around aren't reluctant to help. They're waiting to be asked. But if older adults consistently refuse, hide struggles, or insist, "I need nothing," loved ones may hesitate, then withdraw, not wanting to intrude. This can make older adults feel abandoned when they've unwittingly created the distance. Changing how we view accepting help is key to a lighter, safer, happier old age. See it not as weakness but as an act of self-respect and care for health, spirit, and relationships. Opening up also lets others feel useful, connected, loved. Each act of help joins two hearts in empathy. Old age shouldn't be a solo journey. We're not born to live alone, nor must we handle everything to be strong. Letting go of pride isn't losing yourself. It's wise, kind, courageous living. Allowing help is a gift to yourself and those who care, because they get to do good and stay closer to you. When picturing decline in old age, many imagine dramatic events. A serious diagnosis, a bad fall, or losing a loved one. But what makes old age heavy isn't sudden shocks. It's the small things neglected daily. A forgotten glass of water, a skimped meal, a morning without movement, an afternoon without conversation. These minor oversights, when repeated, build into decline in body, mind, and spirit. We don't age in a day. Decline creeps in through habits we dismiss as no big deal. Skipping breakfast from laziness, staying indoors because nothing's new out there, or not calling friends to avoid bothering them. These small choices become routines, an invisible loop that erodes initiative, joy, and the sense of truly living. The scariest part? Many don't notice until it's severe. The aging body is sensitive to daily treatment. When cared for, fed well, moved gently, rested properly, it responds with flexibility, stamina, and energy. When neglected, even slightly, it protests. Unexplained fatigue, memory lapses, chronic aches, insomnia, or lingering gloom. Because these signs don't hit suddenly, people mistake them for just aging and accept them as inevitable instead of seeing them as the result of accumulated neglect. Not just physical health suffers, mental and emotional vitality does too. Without interaction, motivation, or goals, older adults may just get by. Minds grow sluggish, forgetful, uninspired. Emotions turn flat, negative, or irritable. Simple acts, reading, puzzles, chatting, music, journaling, seem minor but keep the mind active and mood bright. Walter's story in the video shows this clearly. After losing his wife, he lived alone, settling into repetitive habits. Bread and coffee meals, hours in one chair, TV droning to fill silence. He thought this was rest. But within months, his memory faded, his body weakened, and he felt himself fading from life. Not from rapid aging, but from a daily routine that no longer nourished him. When he switched to varied meals, called old friends, and joined a book club, his body and spirit revived. The lesson? Quality of life isn't built on grand gestures, but on how we care for ourselves in small moments. Drinking water keeps the mind sharp and joints supple. A 10-minute walk boosts circulation and mood. A friend's call warms the heart. A few journal lines unburden emotions. These tiny acts add up to a robust, fulfilling old age. But maintaining these habits requires older adults to see self-care as essential, not selfish or luxury. It's not about fixing problems after they arise. It's daily preventive medicine for body and soul. Spending time on yourself isn't killing time. It's nurturing life. Choosing these acts consciously with responsibility and self-love builds a vibrant old age. Old age doesn't have to be weary, dull, or declining. It can be a lively new chapter. If each day is filled with small, meaningful actions, these accumulated efforts lay the foundation for a healthier, independent, happier twilight. Ultimately, old age is neither a sentence nor an end. It can be a fresh chapter, a chance to slow down, look inward, and redefine life's value in simple yet profound ways. But a serene old age doesn't rely solely on luck or health. It hinges on how we face reality and choose to live each day. The 6 truths shared in the video aren't meant to scare, but to open a door to awareness and awakening. By seeing what old age may bring: shrinking relationships, physical pain, unmet expectations, loss of direction, misplaced pride, neglected small things, we stop being passive spectators of life. Instead, we become active authors of a kinder, healthier old age. The core message is this: old age isn't the issue, how we live it is. Understanding these natural laws frees us from surprise or pain when life shifts. We stop expecting others to save us or care to be automatic. Instead, we act from agency, connecting, loving, caring for health, and rediscovering purpose. Sometimes, one truth alone sparks deep reflection. Some may realize their social circle is shrinking. Others may feel a pang recalling unspoken expectations of family. Some may see they're living to pass time, not to thrive. But these aha moments are the first flickers of change, the spark prompting, what can I do to live better, right now? Living old age fully doesn't mean staying busy or chasing grand feats. It's starting the day with a small goal, a walk, a call to a friend, a proper meal. It's writing a line of gratitude or smiling at a new neighbor. These aren't small. They're loving choices that keep life vibrant and human. The video ends with a gentle yet weighty note. Old age can be a gift, if you enter it with an open heart and awake eyes. Indeed, what makes old age beautiful isn't looks, wealth, or perfect health. It's how we accept, adapt, and live with reverence for ourselves, no matter what comes. Life holds things beyond our control, but we always choose how to respond, how to see the world, how to love ourselves. Armed with these 6 truths, we no longer face confusion, regret, or anger. We're better equipped in mind and action to walk old age with confidence. So, if you're reading this today, let it be a soft reminder. You hold immense power to make the rest of your life meaningful. No one but you can write your story's final chapter, and it can be beautiful, profound, and deeply human.